Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto transported in Ninja Turtles world and got harem, part 2. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Namikaze09, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. Let's begin the video. In a temple that was lit by a few candles were two figures who were sitting in the middle of the floor in a meditative position. They were none other than Khan and his student Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. While you walk on this earth, your spirit walks in another world. What you see with your eyes is only one plane of existence, but what you feel with your heart and chi is the world of the spirit. Khan Shisho explained to Naruto and started to levitate in the air. To be able to communicate with the spirits of the higher plane, one must first understand his soul. Understand his own soul? How does one do so in Shisho? Naruto asked his master, who lowered himself to the ground. The body and soul are like yin and yang. One cannot exist without the other. Yin is based on the spiritual energy that governs the imagination and can be used to create form out of nothingness. Yang is based on the physical energy that governs vitality and is used to breathe life into form. These two elements are what make up the cycle of life. If one were to be imbalanced, the consequences can be catastrophic. He answered while Naruto pondered on what he explained. So in other terms, my body is the yang that vitalizes my soul. Is my yin correct? Naruto asked Khan, who nodded. Correct. Everything around us, from the smallest of plant life to the mightiest of beasts, each hold yin and yang chi. Tell me, Naruto, when you were learning how to convert nature chakra into your body, were you able to hear anything? Naruto closed his eyes for a second and then reopened them. Yes, I was. When I was learning how to use sage mode, I could hear whispers that seemed to be guiding me, he answered, and a small smile formed on Khan's face. That was the spirit of nature, Naruto. By becoming in tune with nature, you are stronger and more aware of your surroundings. In a sense, nature becomes your eyes and ears. He finished explaining while Naruto remained wide-eyed and rubbed the back of his head. Wow, that's pretty cool. So what about the explanation of fully understanding one's soul, like my own, for example? Naruto asked Khan. In order to do so, Naruto, you must take a journey into the realm of the spirits. In order to do so, you must first free yourself from your physical form. To do that, you must clear your mind of all thoughts and stay focused, using your chi to guide your spirit and understand its inner desires, he replied. Got it. Naruto breathed in and breathed out a couple of times before relaxing his body and closing his eyes in order to concentrate. His body started to relax. A golden aura formed around his body, as did the golden patterns from the glowing amulet. His body started to slowly hover into the air but remained still. Khan watched this occur and decided to do the same. Spirit realm. Naruto in ethereal form appeared in a realm where he saw countless spirits hovering and moving around different directions. Said blonde opened his eyes and they widened in amazement. Wow, so this is the spirit realm? Naruto asked himself, and that was when Khan appeared. Since it is Naruto, what you see before you are the countless spirits that wander the physical plane. He then points to a lake that seems to have countless orbs hovering over it. Those are the water sprites that give life in that lake. As I said, everything around you is made up of a certain amount of entities whose purpose is to make sure the life cycle continues. Some of the astral orbs, which happened to be green, moved around Naruto in a circle while he watched until he held his hand out. One of them landed in his hand for a while and then flew off. Naruto on the other hand smirked, which made Khan raise an eyebrow. They were praising me for my gardening skills and said they loved my Zen garden. Naruto explained that he did have a green thumb when he was little. Afterwards, Naruto and Khan traveled around the spirit realm for a while, encountering different spirits that balanced out the circle of life and then returned to their physical bodies. I must say, Naruto impressed me with your first trip into the spirit realm. Now you must look into your own spirit, Khan replied. Naruto nodded and once again meditated. He opened his eyes once again and found himself in his mindscape, which was in the form of a sunny sky and a beautiful forest with mountains in the background. Khan once again appeared beside Naruto. As you can see, Naruto, this is your mindscape. This place revolves around your emotions. Positive emotions such as happiness, joy, and peace make your mind look like this. But when you're facing negative emotions such as anger, envy, and rage, your mindscape darkens and becomes a furious storm, he explained while they walked through the forest and then hiking up the mountain. As they made it to the edge of a cliff, they saw a version of Konoha, but hovering over the village was a storm that rained lightning. This is a part of your mind that represents your tragic past and the trials you had to go through. As your mind becomes more open, the dark cloud that covers your mind has receded and has been reduced to this. However, in order to be at peace, you must remove the small twinge of darkness that surrounds your heart before it has a chance to spread in the future. Naruto looked at Konoha blankly in sighs, brushing his hair back with his hand. Easier said than done, Shisho. How does one move from his her past? Naruto asked his sensei, who looked back at him. You must face the darkness in your soul and overcome it, Naruto, because if you don't, everything you've done will be for naught. You must face this task alone, and I warn you now, my student. If you give in to the darkness, I will not hesitate to take you down. Khan replied in a serious and dangerous tone. All I can do now is wish you luck in your trial. Failure is not an option for my student because the results will be chaotic. With those final words, Khan vanished in a swirl of energy, leaving Naruto to face his inner demon. Naruto looked at Konoha and sighed. I have to face my demons sometime, and now is that time, Naruto said to himself and leapt off the cliff towards the village. As he ascended, he entered the storm cloud and bolts of lightning zapped him, but he just shrugged it off. Afterwards, he appeared out of the thundering clouds with white lightning surging through him and headed towards the ground. Boom! He landed on the ground, crouching down while the area around him shook and formed a small crater. He stood back up and found himself in the middle of his former village and looked around the area. Next, he walked through the market district, and the whispers entered his ear. Demon brat! Monster! Murderer! Why don't you go back to hell with your own king, you abomination? Let's kill that creature in the name of Yondaime. Naruto paused and clutched his head for a few seconds, trying to shake off the voices, and continued to make his way through the empty village. As he did, he paused and frowned as he sensed something. Whoever you are, come on out, he ordered, and heard a dark chuckle from the shadows of an alley. As you wish, king, said an eerie and psychotic voice, and Naruto saw a pair of red eyes. As the shadowy figure walked out, Naruto's eyes widened in disbelief at what he saw. Temple. Kan, Judo, Chikara, Hisomi, and Natsumi were circled around Naruto's meditating form. So he is facing his inner darkness? I didn't think it would be this soon, Judo stated to his fellow tribunal members. Better to have him face it now than later. Facing one's inner darkness is not an easy task, especially for those who are weak-minded. All we can do now is pray that he doesn't give in to the hate in his heart, otherwise we'll have to, Chikara stated. That won't happen. Naruto-kun is stronger than that, so get whatever thoughts you're having out of your heads, Natsumi snapped back at the four. This is nothing to Naruto, and he will win. He has to. She said the last sentences quietly but was confident in his abilities. Mindscape. Naruto was staring into the eyes of what appeared to be his darker half, who seemed to possess red spiky hair in contrast with Naruto's blonde hair, and had red slit eyes. Hello Naruto, long time no see. Naruto frowned as he looked at his grinning doppelganger. So you're my inner darkness. I expected you to be more ugly, he replied, which made Yami Naruto chuckle. Sorry, but I get my looks from you. Since you know I'm your pent-up emotions, the only thing that kept me from spreading was your strong will, and without that I would be in control, Yami Naruto stated. Yeah, but I doubt I'd want to be a brooding emo like Sasuke team, Naruto replied back, getting a nod from his darker half. True. Very true, though I have to say I was impressed when you killed that pathetic excuse of a ninja, especially since you had to save his weak ass several times. That took a lot of balls to do what you did, killing the last loyal Uchiha of the Leaf. That fan club of his must be raising a huge stink over it, Yami Naruto said with glee and grinned as he saw his lighter side shrug. What can I say? I honestly didn't give a damn about the team anymore, so I gave him a one-way ticket to hell. I will say that I did enjoy shoving my Rasengan through his arm and into his skull. The horrified look on his face was priceless, and I say good riddance to weak trash. Naruto spat. Damn, maybe you and I should switch places then if you loved killing that prick, Yami Naruto replied while the blonde snorted. I didn't enjoy it. I just didn't care anymore, so I did it, though maybe I should have drilled through his heart like when he shoved Chidori through my lung, Naruto muttered while his darker half chuckled some more. So what now? Are we going to fight for control over my body or what? Naruto asked Yami Naruto, who pondered on it. You know, I was thinking about doing that, but I decided not to, he answered back while Naruto raised a brow. Don't get me wrong, if it was back when you were weak-ass loudmouth with no skill, I would smash your skull in and locked you within the deepest part of your mindscape. But at your current state, our fight would have razed this place to the ground, and I kinda like this better than a damn sewer. So what do you suggest we do? Naruto asked Yami Naruto, who smirked. Well, it's quite simple. You're the light half and I'm the dark half. We're two sides of the same coin. Yin and yang and so on and so forth. If we remain separate, then our strength is cut in half, and that is something I don't like. But if we were to become one, we'd be even stronger than we are now, Yami Naruto answered. Naruto's eyes widened at the suggestion and thought about it for a while. One question. When we merge, will I still have my personality? Naruto asked. To be perfectly honest, I don't know what will really happen, but hey, as unpredictable as we are, anything could happen. He walked towards Naruto and extended his hand. So what do you say, partner? Naruto pondered on this and nodded, extending his hand. Let's do this, but if I don't like the new me, I'm kicking your ass 6 ways to Sunday, and since it's my mindscape, I can make that last for an eternity. Yami Naruto grinned and nodded. Right back at you. Turn into a pussy and I'll give you a beating that'll make the ones Natsumi-chan gave look like child's play. He grasps onto Naruto's hand and Naruto does the same with Yami Naruto. An aura of pure light surrounds the real Naruto, while a red light forms around Yami Naruto. The two auras suddenly surround and twist into a mixture of light and darkness and become golden with a red outline. Temple. The tribunal and Natsumi felt something emit from Naruto, and before they knew it, his chi flared out like a wildfire and released a huge gust of wind, forcing them to jump back. What's going on? Is he fighting his darker half? Natsumi shouted out. No, this is something different. What it is we cannot, Judo said until they each heard a deafening roar echo through the temple and a great light shined around Naruto. His chi swirled around him like a typhoon and the power behind it destroyed the top half of the meditation room. Unbelievable. He's releasing his avatar, Chikara stated while Natsumi looked at Khan for an explanation. An avatar is a totem in which a warrior possesses deep within his or her soul, manifesting into what animal represents their inner being, Khan said. But for someone so young to do this through sheer will alone, it's inconceivable. That was when the chi formed into what looked like a dragon, but not any dragon, a golden dragon. I don't believe it, his avatar formed into a golden dragon, Judo said in awe while the dragon spread its wings and reared its head back, releasing a powerful roar. The golden dragon is one of the dragons of the higher plane, just like our avatars. To have a creature as great as this one as a manifestation of his soul is very rare, Chikara replied while the dragon released one final roar before dissipating and the golden patterns on Naruto's body and chi aura died off. The blonde lets out a sigh of relief and opens his eyes only to see his senseis stare at him with looks of awe and pride. Naruto looked around and blinked in confusion, rubbing the back of his head. What? Was all he asked his senseis. Mountain Edge. Standing on the edge of a mountain was none other than the ninjutsu master of strength Chikara, and standing a few feet behind her was Naruto. Strength of mind when combined with strength of body and spirit can move mountains. Alone, however, the body shatters against rock like a brittle twig. She walks towards a large boulder and picks it up with only one hand and lifts it over her head. She then tosses it in the air like it was a simple pebble, and when it ascends, she rears her right fist back and delivers a palm strike that reduces the boulder into a pile of rubble. Whoa, Bachan's got nothing on Chikara Shisho. If she could do that to a mere boulder, imagine what she could do to a mountain. Naruto thought. Now you try, Naruto, but remember you can only use your chi in this exercise, she instructed. Naruto nodded and made his way to another boulder and rubbed his hands together. Alright, Naruto. Focus on strength of mind, body, and spirit, he said to himself, and then inhales and exhales his breath and crouches down. He places both hands under the boulder, and at first he has trouble lifting the boulder, but then his amulet glows and golden markings appear on his body, and he manages to lift it over his head. He then tosses it into the air, rears his fist back, and when it descends to the ground he swings his fist and shatters, but unlike Chikara's, his was reduced to only large chunks of rock. Not a bad start, but the execution could have been more proficient, she stated, and noticed Naruto's knuckle was a little red. And you need to be absolutely focused, otherwise your knuckles wouldn't be red. Yes, sure, show. Naruto replies while the redness in his knuckles dies out and proceeds to do it again. After spending almost an hour trying to crush boulders, he manages to succeed after destroying the 10-1 and reducing it to a pile of pebbles, and Chikara had a pleased look on her face. Excellent. This exercise is based on activating your chi at will and controlling the amount you use in battle. Her hands glowed green and she slams them together, causing a wave of energy to emit around them. When it died out, the smaller boulders started to form and transform into what appeared to be 4 rock-like creatures. These are stone Oni demons. They are powerful and nearly impervious. It will take more than mere muscles to beat these foes, she stated as the 4 creatures made their way towards Naruto. Now let's see you use what I have taught you so far, and remember, no ninjutsu or weapons. Your fists and your inner strength are your weapons from this point on. Naruto's eyes bug out, but then he sighs. I figured as much. Oh well, I was always more of a hands-on person. He got into the Senkuken no Ryu, flash fist style, stance, and used his raw speed to leap away from an incoming fist. He flips backwards and lands back on his feet. Wow, not only are they strong but they're fast, he said, and he ducked from an incoming fist and rolled under in between the third golem's legs. As he did that, he was backhanded by the stone creature and sent crashing and rolling around the ground for a while before flipping back on his feet. Naruto rubs his jaw and spits out a bloody tooth. Consider yourself a rubble rock head, Naruto said as he went into the acolyte state and cracked his knuckles. The golem behind him brought its fist down on Naruto, but the blonde spun around and caught it. My turn, Naruto said with a feral grin on his face and proceeded to lift the stone beast off its feet. He looked out of the corner of his eye and saw another charge at him, so he spun his body and swung a stone on it around and threw it. It crashed into the other one, and there were now scattered parts in the area. Next, Naruto said as he grinned at the other one that charged at him. As it got close and started to swing at Naruto, the former leaf ninja easily evaded the attacks and bent back as a fist passed his head. He curled his fist up and performed a flying uppercut that left a gaping hole in the rock creature, and it fell over, and was reduced to a pile of pebbles. Naruto used his chi-enhanced speed to appear behind the golem, and grabbed its arm. With a tug he ripped the arm off and snarled, "Batter up your ugly bird bath," he said, and got into a batter stance and swung at the one-armed elemental creature. 1. It was struck across the left side, which was shattered. 2. Its arm was smashed and destroyed, making it stumble back. 3 strikes and you're out. Naruto roared and smashed its upper body, reducing it to rubble. The lower half stumbled back and fell off the edge of the cliff. Naruto then crushed the rock arm and dusted off his pants. "So what did you think of Shusho? Do I get extra credit for my final execution?" he asked the white-haired kunoichi who watched the event and then walked over to Naruto. She stared at him for a few minutes, making him nervous, but then a small smile formed on her face, and she placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have done well, Naruto. Natsumi-san was indeed correct when she said that you show a lot of promise, and I am pleased with the results," she said with a pleased look on her face. "And who knows? After the next couple of sessions I'll probably test you myself." Naruto smiles nervously at her statement. "Hopefully that won't be for a while, Shusho, as I'm positive you could beat me senseless without even trying," he replied back while her eyes smiled. "Maybe, but only if you get cocky and like the kitsune I don't pull my punches," she said back, and he paled. "For Kami's sake, what is it with powerful females wanting to kick my ass for the hell of it?" he muttered to himself while anime tears fell from his face. Chikara pats him on the back a couple of times, and then walks back to the monastery with Naruto following behind. Master Juto's dojo for weapons training. In the ancient form of the tribunal, Naruto stood before the ninjutsu master of weapons, Juto Shusho, while Natsumi was watching from the sides. A weapon deshi is more than just a mere tool. It is an extension of yourself. Weapons represent the synchronization of one's body and skill. Any weapon, if harnessed correctly, can become your greatest ally, but without discipline, it can become your greatest enemy. In the hands of a master, even something as minuscule as a pebble can smite the greatest of beasts and best warriors, he explained while Naruto had his mother's katana, the Yuzuno Kiba, Whirlpool Fang, strapped to his back. The katana had a hilt wrapped in a deep red cloth with black diamond patterns going down it with a bronze cap at the end. The guard was in the shape of a spiral representing his mother's former village, and was in a black sheath. "Now then, may I see your blade, Naruto?" Judo asked his pupil, who drew the sword. The blade was single-edged with what looked like seals engraved into the sides. Juto took the sword and inspected it for a while. Such fine craftsmanship. "This is without a doubt one of the finest blades I've ever seen." He did a few practice swings with it and smirked. "And it is well balanced, capable of performing quick and precise strikes. Whoever created this blade was without a doubt an excellent blacksmith." Naruto smiled at how his sensei was praising his clan's heirloom. "Thank you, Shusho. It was my great-grandfather's blade that, from what I read about it, was forged from a rare metal called dragon scales in their country. It was passed on to my grandfather, who gave it to my Ka-san, and is now mine." Juto then hands the blade back and Naruto sheathes it. "While that blade is strong, it is not enough to defeat the Dark One. You will need stronger weapons, ones that can do harm both physically and mystically," Juto finished. He whipped his arm out, and coming out of the long sleeve was a glowing whip that struck the ground and released a wave of blue energy. When it dissipated, the ground started to crack and rumble, and rising out of the ground were what appeared to be 2 pairs of reptilian-like claws, and in the middle a giant maw that was in the form of a roaring dragon's head. From inside the gaping maw, fire shot out. Naruto was bug-eyed and gawked. "Man, that has to be the coolest thing I've ever seen happen since I've been here," he replied as flames danced around the mouth of the dragon. "Behold the spirit forge, young dragon. A forge fueled from the breath of 4 great dragons." He then turned his attention at the sacred forge. "Those worthy will find what they seek." A grim expression formed on his face, and he turned his attention towards Naruto. "Those who are unworthy will suffer pain beyond their comprehension. Are you ready to step into the flames of the great dragons, or will you be turned to ashes by their raging flames? Step forward if you dare," the ninjutsu master of weapons challenged. Naruto was about to feel a hand on his shoulder, and he turned around to see a concerned Natsumi. "Relax, Sumi-chan, I got this. Shusho just challenged me and I never back down from a challenge," he said, placing an assuring hand on hers. She nods and steps back while he walks forward to the maw of the spirit forge. He then slowly stretched his arm out and placed his hands over the flames. "Hey, these flames don't feel hot," he said to himself, and took another step forward. That was when the flames suddenly surrounded and engulfed Naruto's body, making Natsumi widened in fear. "Naruto!" She cried out and attempted to move forward, but the flames were too strong. "Oh Kami, please let him be alright," she begged while the flames died down. Naruto stepped forward and surrounded him with 9 orbs. Judo raised an eyebrow when he saw this. This is something new, he thought while the orbs took the weapons' forms. His eyes widened in disbelief at the 9 weapons he was gazing at. By the gods, he's been blessed with the greatest weapons to ever exist. The first weapon he saw were a pair of gauntlets and greaves. The gauntlets each had 3 wicked-looking jagged claws, and the greave had 3 bladed foot attachments on them. If you're all wondering, they're similar to the falcon talons from Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. The second one was a staff with spiked maces connected to each end of the staff by a retractable chain. The third ones were a pair of black tonfas that had bladed edges and blades on the tips of the weapons. The fourth was a scythe with a silver edge and the symbol of a crescent moon on the black edge. The fifth was what looked like 2 Kusarigama-like weapons, each with 2 scythe blades, with one inverted, giving it the resemblance of a pinwheel. The blades are connected to a spiked rod tethered together by a long chain, Kazushini from Bleach. The sixth one was a war hammer with a retractable staff and a cube-shaped black hammer with the symbol of a turtle shell on it. The seventh weapon was a pair of twin double-edged swords with the insignia for lightning on them. The blades were 2 curved spikes, similar to Raiga's thunder swords. The eighth weapon was a naginata with a curved blade that had a blue orb at the end. The ninth and final weapon was a katana with red cloth wrapped around the hilt with a gold cap. The guard was gold-plated, and in the form of a coiling dragon, and had a silver single-edged blade. "Wow," was all Naruto said as he saw the weapons. "Boy, the weapons before you were each wielded by the first ninja who ever received the title of the dragon. The claws of Suzaku, forged and blessed in the holy flames of the Phoenix of the South. Diamond Staff of Enma, a weapon created by the Monkey King himself. The Tonfas of Makujin, carved from the wood of a 2,000-year-old tree. The Eclipse Scythe, which was forged from moon rock for 7 days and 7 nights and blessed by the moon goddess Tsukuyumi. The Games of Fujin, capable of manipulating the wild winds. Baragakana, a hammer created by the mountain god that is capable of reducing a mountain to rubble and leveling the strongest of fortresses. The Fangs of Inazuma, blades capable of manipulating lightning and are said to be the sharpest swords to ever be created. The Naginata of Orochi, the blade that has been forged from the fang of the Serpent King. The final blade is the Ryukin, a legendary katana created from the fangs of the dragon god and powered by the spirits of the 12 dragons. Only one pure of heart and with a strong spirit can wield such a marvelous weapon," Khan explained with excitement in his voice. Natsumi on the other hand raised an eyebrow. "You seem to be very pleased about this. Those 9 weapons were wielded by my master, Ryu Hayabusa, who was a true master of the ninja arts and the first ninja in history to ever gain the title dragon, and was known as Demon Slayer, capable of defeating demons that were even stronger than him. But that is a story for another time." He watched Naruto inspect his new weapons and grin. "I can actually see the image of my master in that boy. He will without a doubt finish what me and my comrades couldn't." Right now Chikara, Judo, Hisomi, and Khan were in the monastery discussing what occurred at the Spirit Forge. "You mean to tell us that Naruto is in possession of our former master's weapons? How is that possible?" Khan asked the weapons master. "To be perfectly honest, Khan, I don't know how this had happened. This is something I haven't seen even happening. Each of those weapons were wielded by Ryu Shisho when he saved the world from the greater demons and sealed them into the netherworld," Juto answered. "To even wield one of his weapons is rare, but all 9, it's unbelievable." Then again Natsumi did state that Naruto was well known for being the most surprising person she has ever met. After all, he did manage to understand the concept of using chi a lot easier than we did during our travels around the world, Chikara stated, and her fellow tribunal members nodded in agreement. "What surprises me the most is that he has Ryukin. It was Shisho's most treasured possession." Yes, it was. There was no other katana like that one. Ryu Shisho did state that one day the fawn of the dragon would return to the mortal plane one day to save the world from destruction, and I have to say I see a lot of Ryu Shisho in Naruto in terms of a strong will, spirit, and self-discipline. Something even our old apprentice lacked in terms, Juto said. "Let's not forget that he's improving at an astonishing rate. What took us years to master, he can simply understand it as if it was just simple breathing. So much potential, and he has already understood the basics of the ninja arts under us. He would definitely make an excellent member in the tribunal," the ninjutsu master of the spirit stated. "Yes, he would. Perhaps in the future we can offer him the position of the 5th dragon, but for now we'll continue to observe his training," Chikara replied and looked back at Hisomi. "I believe his next session is with you, Hisomi." Since you are a master of stealth and are in terms silent as the shadows, the humor in her tone made the man fold his arms and smirk at the joke. I'll translate your instructions. Hisomi nodded in agreement and vanished in a gust of wind. The Dragon Bridge. The ninjutsu masters and their pupil were standing in front of what appeared to be a long bridge that appeared to be imbalanced and extremely old and was connected to a mountain that appeared to have the structure of a two-headed dragon coiled around it. Naruto watched as Hisomi was demonstrating the instructions to his student in sign language. What you are seeing before you, Naruto, is Hisomi's form of instructing you. As a master of stealth, he is embodying the 3 steps of ninjutsu, which are speed, secrecy, and silence. Chikara explained while Hisomi continued to do the instructions in sign language. These 3 steps are what makes a ninja a foe to be feared. We are warriors of the shadows who attack without warning. We blend in with our surroundings and use them to our advantage against our opponents. Stealth is a ninja's greatest tool. Do you know what part of the day we have the greatest advantage in Desi? Naruto pondered on this for a while and spoke up. The darkness, right? He asked and got a nod as his answer. Correct. The darkness is one of our greatest assets when it comes to stealth. With it, we are completely invisible to the untrained eye and can operate more clearly than during the day, she responded. Today you will be making an attempt to cross the Tatsu, Dragon, Bridge, which is around 200 yards long, she explained while Naruto minded his surroundings and analyzed the state of the bridge. How zero covers direct sunlight and creaky old boards. Right, like I'm gonna be able to cross this bridge unnoticed, Naruto muttered, and when he looked up, he saw Hisomi was on the other side of the bridge with his arms folded. Naruto blinked owlishly and kept looking at the man's previous and current location. Okay, I only blinked for a second and he was already on the other side. Chikara smirked at how he could become impressed with such a basic idea. Remember, Naruto, all things are possible when the mind, body, and spirit are harnessed to complete whatever task lies ahead of you, and from what I've heard from Natsumi, you have been known to make the impossible possible. The green-clad kunoichi quoted while Hisomi appeared before them again. Naruto, on the other hand, rubbed the back of his head. Well, when you put it that way, I can't argue with that form of logic, but you guys make stuff like this look easy. I'd be very lucky if I could get halfway across this bridge, he said to himself as he walked forward until he was in front of the bridge. Focus inward, Naruto. See the world as only as light and fog, Chikara instructed. Hisomi leaned forward and pointed to Naruto's emblem. Find your chi and imagine it as a rushing wind, powerful, free-flowing, and invisible. Let it guide you to your destination, she finished. Naruto looks back at the bridge and sighs but steps forward. Okay, Naruto, you can do this. If you could survive Natsumi's Hell on Earth training for 3 years, then you can easily walk on an ancient bridge that has a 200-foot drop to a raging river with jagged rock that can rip flesh from bones in mere seconds, he said to himself, and felt his face turn a little pale at what he just said. Do not let your doubts cloud your abilities, Naruto. Focus on your destination and let go of your fears, Chikara warned. Naruto inhaled his breath for a few seconds and then let it out. He claps his hands together and closes his eyes for a few seconds until he goes into the acolyte state. He opens his eyes back up and takes his first step on the bridge. As his foot makes contact with the first board, no sound escapes it, so he proceeds to make way across the bridge. Alright, Naruto, stay focused, clear your mind of all bad thoughts, he instructed himself in his mind as he made it halfway across the bridge and grinned. Wow, this is really easy. I can't believe I was nervous over doing this exercise. Little did he know that his thoughts caused him to lose his focus, and his acolyte state dissipated. As it did, he placed his right foot down on the board. Creak! The noise echoed across the area, which made Naruto freeze in place, and inwardly berated himself for losing focus, and that was when a low growl entered his ears. Okay, I know that wasn't my stomach growling, he said and looked around. The roar grew louder, and rising from under the bridge was a large blue dragon with a serpent-like body. The dragon rose into the air and descended down towards a bug-eyed Naruto. Oh sweet Kami! He screamed out as the roaring beast descended towards him. Said dragon zigzags and coils around the bridge, snarling angrily. Okay, I've got a pissed-off dragon the size of Gamabunta ready to tear me apart. Yikes! Naruto ducks as the dragon flies past his head and heads back into the air. Look, I'm sorry if I woke you up from your nap, but you don't have to bite my head off for it. The dragon turned its head around and once again headed towards Naruto with its maw open wide. Me and my big mouth, the blonde acolyte in training berated himself, and crossed his arms over his face, waiting for the dragon to devour him, only to see nothing happening to him. Naruto looked up to see Hisomi standing in between him and the snorting dragon. Hisomi clapped his hands together and bowed to the legendary beast of the river. The dragon bowed its head back in return, accepting the silent apology, and then took off into the air and ascended back into the white layered abyss while the blonde Namikaze let out a sigh of relief. Phew, I thought I was dragon food for a second there. He stood back up on his feet and saw the stony expression which made him cringe and look down at his feet ashamed. Sorry Shirsho. I didn't stay focused and only got halfway across the bridge. Naruto apologized. Said Master raised a brow and responded by patting Naruto on the back, and Chikara appeared. He is telling you that there is no need to apologize to Naruto. To be perfectly honest, you actually met his expectations, Chikara said, getting a confused look from Naruto. We didn't expect you to even get this far across the dragon bridge without awakening the Tatsu's spirit, and you did well for a beginner. He looked back at Hisomi, who was smiling a little, and nodded at his student for meeting his expectations. Really? Thanks, Hisomi Shisho, Naruto said and bowed to his master. So for the next hour Naruto worked on getting to one side of the bridge and back without disturbing the Tatsu's spirit, though he still did have a few encounters with it during the exercise. After he completed his first task, the next one involved him going across a mountain top on only a rope that was connected to the other side of the cliff. Said Blonde looked down at how high he was and sweat dropped. Okay, the ragged bridge I can understand, but this is inhumane, Naruto said with a deadpan expression on his face, looking back at Hisomi and Chikara. There will be times when you need to cross obstacles that are out of your reach. This is one of them, Chikara explained. This form of training will also test your stamina and endurance. The altitude is higher than it was on the bridge, and combined with the cold and strong wind currents, this exercise will be your toughest. Your main task is the same as the bridge, with the difference being that you need to focus your center of balance on the rope. The slightest slip will result in deadly consequences. Naruto gulped and saw how high he was on the mountain top and saw an eagle soar by. It's a good thing I don't have a phobia for heights, otherwise I'd be in serious trouble. I'm starting to miss Natsumi-chan's hell on earth training. The worst she's done is had me water walk in a pool of lava. He mumbled and walked forward. He placed his left foot on the rope. It wiggled a little. Using a little of his chi, he placed his other foot on the rope and remained still for a while, lifting his arms outward to the side to keep his balance, and proceeded to walk across the bridge. Kami, this sucks, he muttered until a cold wind blew around his body and made him shiver a little. Like I said, this sucks, Choi. He almost slipped off of the rope but added a small amount of chakra into his other foot. That was too close. Chikara and Hisomi were watching this, and the behemoth of a ninja looked at Chikara, who looked back, and they both nodded. She stepped forward, reared her fist back, and brought it down on the rocky surface, making the area around them shake wildly. The rope started to wobble back and forth, and Naruto was struggling to stay on the rope. Oh, CCCCCCCCRRRAPPPPPP, said Blonde cried out as he wobbled back and forth, trying to stay on the rope. Are they nuts? All I wanted was to become a great ninja like my parents, not fall to my death on a damn rope. To his horror, he slipped off the rope and started to fall over, but due to his reflexes he managed to grab the rope just in time before falling to his death. Okay, this officially sucks. I swear if I die from this I'm gonna haunt them for the rest of eternity, Naruto said as he gritted his teeth. He proceeded to swing upwards and landed back onto the rope and continued the exercise. After that, he was on the other side lying on his back muttering about sadistic teachers trying to kill him physically and mentally. Chikara and Hisomi appeared beside him once again. Not bad. I expected you to fall to your doom, Desi, Chikara said humorously with a small smile on her face and got a glare from Hanayo. That's not funny, Shisho. Not funny at all. What if I actually did fall to my doom? He was annoyed at the fact that they were smiling at his mirth. That wouldn't have happened under our watch, young one. You are more valuable to us alive than as a smear on the ground, she stated. Oh joy. He muttered and hopped onto his feet. Are there any other obstacles that you want me to try? Like free falling from the highest peak on the planet through a major blizzard, or perhaps diving into a pool heated up by the geothermal energy of a volcano to see how long I can hold my breath? He asked in a sarcastic tone. Hisomi's smirk grew and it outright scared Naruto and made him take a step back. Oh heck no. That's where I crossed the line. If I have to, I will fight you, Shirsho, and I don't care if you kick my ass 6 times on Sunday. He cried out and got into a fighting stance, only for Chikara to pat him on the shoulder. That won't be necessary for Naruto. He's only messing with your head, Chikara insisted while the blonde huffed up and folded his arms. Crazy senseis and their sick sense of humor, he muttered while Hisomi chuckled. Said Master of Stealth vanished in a swirl of bronze energy, leaving Naruto and Chikara on the training ground. Shirsho, why is it that I never hear Hisomi Shisho speak? That is because he fully upholds his form of the ninja arts, since he is the Master of Stealth Naruto. Just like me and the others are masters in our forms in the ninja arts, but that doesn't mean we aren't skilled in using the other forms we learned from those during our travels. We just merely major in what forms are better suited for us, she explained to her student. Oh, I see. So am I done for now? I'm not complaining or anything, but having my life hung by a thread literally kinda freaked me out, and I'd rather fight the Tatsu spirit than go that again. Naruto pointed to the obstacle while Chikara raised an eyebrow. I didn't take you as the one to fear heights, Naruto. Her statement resulted in Naruto shaking his head. I don't fear heights in Shusho. I just don't like thinking about falling to my death from a 300-foot drop, he implied, which made her laugh lightly and pat him on the shoulder. Come on then, Deshi, you've earned some rest for now, she said, and they headed back to the monastery. Lap of the Gods Monastery. So let me get this straight, these 9 weapons, the very weapons I gained from the Dragon Forge, were wielded by your former master who saved the world from a powerful demon? Naruto asked the 4 tribunal ninjas, who nodded in agreement. Yes. Ryu Shisho was one of the greatest ninja to ever exist. He was the first to ever gain the title of the dragon, and he had no equal. Like us, he went beyond the limitations of the normal human, and was capable of facing even the greatest of demons, Khan answered. In a way you remind us of him. As he said that, the blonde was flabbergasted. He was a man of unstoppable will. His indomitable spirit was shown through his exploits, refusing to give up and overcoming every obstacle in his path. Chikara started to explain. When it came to becoming stronger, he did to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Though the path he walked has transformed him into a cold, calculative killer, he still retains his humanity, and he always selflessly puts himself in danger to protect the people he cares about, and sometimes even showing a mutual respect for an enemy who has walked the same path as him, she finished. Naruto, on the other hand, remained stumped that his masters would consider him to be a reminder of their master, but also felt a form of honor. He read about Ryu Hayabusa in the archives during his training in learning Japan's history, and was amazed that the man was so well respected and feared throughout the nation, and still is. Ryukin, the blade that you gained from the forge, was his most treasured possession. To have a magnificent weapon such as that means that you are destined for greatness, young one. Khan explained while Naruto unsheathed the weapon, revealing a silver single-edged blade that was flawless, and had no form of scratches or chips on the blade. Wow. The blade is in perfect condition, just like my mother's, he said as he inspected the ancient weapon. Yes. Ryukin was more than just a blade. It was a part of him, an extension of his person both as a warrior and as a person, Juto stated. He was the first to ever become more than human, like we did when we fought a great evil that threatened to destroy the world. He became a force of nature like you four? Naruto asked his sensei, who nodded. Then what happened to him? Hisomi shook his head, stating they did not know. No one knows. After defeating the greater fiends, he just vanished, but we carried on his teachings by becoming stronger. Juto answered and pointed to Ryukin. Like us, you carry on his legacy, Desi. Naruto sheathed the blade and placed it on his back. I can't help but feel honored with being entrusted with the very blade your teacher possessed, Shisha. I swear on my clan name I will carry on his legacy. He bowed to his masters, who were extremely pleased. For the next 6 months, Naruto worked relentlessly in the tribunal arts, as well as continuing to work on the ninjutsu and arts. Right now, he was standing in the middle of a field, surrounded by several large boulders. He had his eyes closed and raised his arms to the side while in the acolyte state. The boulders started to steadily rise from the ground and float in mid-air while Naruto clapped his hands together. Said large stones started to rotate around him for a while until he pulled his hands apart. In an instant, they each went flying in separate directions. Some crashed into the nearby rivers and lakes, some landed in the forest, and others went crashing into the edges of the smaller mountains. But he wasn't done yet. He brought his hand up towards the clouds and the sky started to darken. The sound of thunder clapping into the air and lightning flashed simultaneously, and the wind around him picked up. Natsumi was sitting on a rock texture watching her boyfriend work on his manipulation of the natural elements. A bolt of lightning shot out of the clouds and ascended towards Naruto, and surprisingly, he caught the bolt in his hand. As he gathered the bolt into his hand, it took the form of a spear. As the lightning-shaped spear cackled in his hand, he set his eyes on a rock texture, reared his arm back, and threw it. The elemental spear descended towards Naruto's target, and once it hit, an explosion consisting of lightning and flying rock debris occurred, and the area around him rumbled from the attack. After that, the black clouds cleared up and the sky was back to normal. The sound of someone clapping entered his ears, and he turned around to see an eye smiling at Natsumi. I give you a 10 for creating that storm and demolishing that mountain with the bolt of lightning, as well as causing an impressive amount of damage, she praised while the tribunal in training rubbed the back of his head. Thanks, Natsumi-chan. I aim to please, he said as she walked towards him and wrapped her arms around his neck with a sly grin on her face. I know, and I was especially pleased with what occurred between us last night. she remarked while a small blush formed on his face due to the fact that they became sexually intimate with each other for most of that night, especially since it was his first time. Natsumi, on the other hand, was impressed with how good he started off and that he had the stamina to keep up with her, of all people, demoness whatever. The fact was that he was good. "Must you bring that up?" he asked his girlfriend, whose grin grew, and she kissed him on the cheek. "I can't help it, Naruto-kun. Had I known you were that good in bed, I would have jumped you a year ago," she teased, but then squeaked when he pinched her rear. "What was that for?" She pouted cutely as he wrapped his arms around her waist. "For being perverted, my sly vixen. Did anyone tell you that you're very clingy when you sleep?" he asked in a humorous tone. Natsumi blushed prettily at this and rested her head on his chest and was enjoying the warmth his body was emitting. Sure, she has been held before, but when she's in Naruto's arms she feels more than just warmth. She felt safe and loved, and being around for 2 millennia she hasn't met a male aside from Minato who was as caring as Naruto was. "I can't help it if I love being held by you," she said as she snuggled her head into his chest. She then looks up at him, and her crimson red eyes gazed into his. Naruto was in the training outpost, practicing the katas, the Uzumaki clan's sword style with Yuzu no Kiba, Whirlpool Fang, while Chikara and Natsumi watched from the sidelines. "He is indeed something else, isn't he, Chikara-san?" Natsumi asked the green-clad kunoichi, who nodded. "Indeed he has. Naruto has come far from his training, and at his current progress within a few years, he'll be unstoppable," she replied with pride in her voice. "It doesn't matter how difficult the obstacle is, he always finds a way to accomplish the impossible." Natsumi nodded at her statement. "Uzumakis tend to do that. I have to say that out of all the clans from his realm, the Uzumakis were one of the most renowned clans to ever exist, and it was their strong wills and unpredictability that made them the most dangerous ninja clan to ever fight." Naruto then performed a horizontal slash before spinning around, switching with his left hand, placing it in a reversal grip and slashing upwards, before altering the position and slashes downwards. "Heh, I didn't think our activities from last night would leave him with this much stamina left to train," she responded in a cheeky fashion. Chikara raised an eyebrow at her statement. "Activities?" she wondered before Natsumi turned her grinning face at the female of the tribunal. "I'm pretty sure you know what 2 mature members of the opposite sex would be doing at night, Chikara-san." Chikara pondered on it for a few minutes before her eyes widened in surprise and a small blush formed on her face. "Why, you two became intimate?" she stammered out and got a nod from the blushing vixen, and then turns her attention back to Naruto. "But he's still an adolescent." Natsumi simply shrugs at her statement. "Like it matters, because from his world, the moment you become ninja headband of your village, you are considered an adult in the eyes of your superiors, which means he can practice adult things like sex, for example." She then leans next to Chikara's ear, "And let me tell you from personal experience, he is good at the practicing we do, impressed even me." Chikara's eyes widened even more while Natsumi giggled at the stumped expression on her face. True, she knew about sex but never participated with another male due to the fact that she lived around the Dark Ages and never found someone suitable enough. Kan, Juto, and Hisomi were out of the question since they were more like brothers to her than love interests. If she had to be honest with herself, in terms of a male companion, they would not only have to be strong physically but mentally as well, like Naruto was. "Oh, and Chikara-san, if you want you can also get with Naruto as well, since I'm willing to have another female participate in our nightly activities as well," Natsumi informed the kunoichi, who nearly lost her entire composure from the statement had it not been for Kan, Juto, and Hisomi appearing before them. "Have you informed them yet, Chikara?" Kan asked his tribunal sister. But I was distracted by Natsumi-san's explanation of hers and Naruto's previous activities," she answered, trying to fight down the blush on her face. The other 3 males raised a brow at this but ignored it as Naruto appeared beside Natsumi. "Good evening, senseis, so what is it you wanted to talk to me about?" Naruto asked his mentors. "Ever since you began your training under us, your progress has grown faster than we've anticipated," Kan stated. Naruto, on the other hand, rubs the back of his head in a sheepish manner. "Arigato, Kan Shisho, but it was through yours and everyone else's tutelage that helped me increase my skills in ways I didn't think I'd hope to achieve," Naruto replied, getting nods of acknowledgement from the tribunal master. "We have one final task for you to complete before you are put through the trials of the tribunal." Juto performs a few hand seals and holds his palms out as energy circulates his palms, taking an oval shape and forming an image of a mountain. "You must travel to the top of Mount Fuji, where you will meet a man known as the Ancient One, our apprentice in the ways of ninjutsu." Naruto nodded before realizing when Juto said the Ancient One was their apprentice. "Wait, you 4 had an apprentice before I showed up?" he wondered. Chikara nodded. "Yes, Naruto, the Ancient One was one of many who have learned under our tutelage. In the past we have had many, but sadly they were considered inadequate in learning our teachings as they did not possess the physical or mental discipline to meet our expectations. She informed the blonde hybrid. So you wish for me to meet your previous student? He got a nod from each of them. Yes, even though you are strong in body, what makes a warrior truly strong is his mind and spirit. The Ancient One is extremely wise in all aspects, and his wisdom will be of great help to you in the future. Khan finished. Okay then, so how long do I have to stay in Mount Fuji with the Ancient One? Naruto asked his mentors. Until we need to summon you back to the lap of the gods to face your final trial, you will remain with him for the time being, Juto answered. After being dismissed, Naruto heads to his room and packs the essentials, as does Natsumi. Once he got his gear on and items packed, Naruto placed his backpack on his back as well as a large scroll, while Natsumi transformed into her fox form and hops on Naruto's shoulder, wrapping her form around his neck like a scarf. Lap of the Gods Bridge. The teenage shinobi was crossing the bridge, and as he made it to the opposite side, Chikara appeared before him in a swirl of green energy with her arms folded with a stern expression on her face. Sure show? Naruto wondered before noticing her expression softened and pulled out a small green sack. Take these, Naruto, they'll help you keep your strength up on your journey, she offered. Naruto smiles at the gesture and takes the bag and bows before his master, and she does so in respect. Thank you, Shursho. Naruto replies and heads off on the road. Chikara watches him leave with a smile on her face. Good luck, Deshi, Chikara says to herself, and then vanishes in a swirl of green energy. Down the dirt road, Naruto unwraps the sack that contained 4 large rice balls. Oh, rice balls, he takes on and takes a bite out of it, tasting the flavor in the treat until his eyes widened in amazement. Wow, this is amazing. Natsumi-chan, you've got to try this. He pulls a piece off and holds it in front of her. She takes it and chews it slowly before her eyes light up. More. I want more, she demanded, hopping off his shoulder and transforming into her hybrid state. He hands her one, and she instantly takes it and chows down on the treat, much to Naruto's amusement as he watches her finish the last bit of the rice ball. This taste is incredible. I've got to ask Chikara for the recipe when we get back, she replied, and attempted to grab another one only for Naruto to swat her hand away as he wrapped them back up. Let's save the last 2 for later, you greedy vixen, Naruto chastised in a teasing tone. Natsumi folds her hands and pouts at not getting another treat, and the two continue on their journey to Mt. Fuji. Mt. Fuji. Snow terrain. The duo was trekking through a blizzard in the snowy terrain of Mt. Fuji. Naruto was using his conical hat to keep his face covered to keep the snowflakes from getting on his face. Natsumi was in her fox form, wrapped around Naruto's neck like a scarf, with her ears flat and head covered in the back of his collar. While he wasn't cold in any way or form, the white blanket of snow falling and the wind gusts made it difficult to see where he was going, and the last thing he wanted to do was walk off a cliff. He stops in his tracks and claps his hands together, focusing his chi around his body, and then brings them up. A miniature twister forms around him and spreads out until Naruto claps his hands together, releasing a burst of energy around the area and clears the blizzard. There, that's better, he says while getting a clear view of the snowy area. Natsumi unwraps herself and lands on the ground, shaking the snow and ice that was sticking to her fur. And you didn't do that earlier, why? The vixen questioned her boyfriend, who in return raised an eyebrow. Like you're one to talk, Sumi-chan, being the 9-tailed fox and all, you should have been able to blow this breeze away with a flick of your tail, he remarked as she transformed into her hybrid state again. Touche koi, she replied as she brushed some snow off her sleeve and noticed a large notch. That notch should take us closer to our destination. Let's hurry and get out of this tundra. As they headed towards the large notch, Naruto and Natsumi stopped in place and narrowed their eyes as they heard large footsteps on the other side of the notch. I smell Yeti, Naruto said as the large hulking figures approached them. The Yeti were both 12 feet tall behemoths with shaggy white fur with high ponytails and long beards. They were garbed in a dark greenish-blue armor around their chests and shoulders, with large belts keeping them in place, with matching shingards with single-edged blades that were 8 feet long holstered on the left hip. The two Yeti were looking down at the duo before drawing their blades. None shall pass, Yeti 1 declared as they stared down at the trespassers. Brother, let's teach these puny creatures a lesson, Yeti 2 says as he takes a step forward. Natsumi's eyes twitched at being called puny, and a low growl vibrated under her throat. Yeti 1 raises an eyebrow at this but then places a hand on his brother's shoulder. What is your purpose here, little man and little woman? Yeti 1 asked, only for a tick mark to form on Natsumi's head, and her hand twitched slightly. Naruto's sweat drops but keeps his composure. We are here to visit the Ancient One, Yeti-san. We're not here to cause trouble and would like to pass on to the other side, Naruto requested. He wasn't worried about losing his cool due to all the meditation he did with Kanshisho, but Natsumi was a different case due to her status as a high-class demon and being the strongest of the 9 in her former realm. She was prideful in her level of power, and to be looked down upon in any way by someone who she would consider inferior to her was a jab at her pride as a powerful demon and a woman, and the results would be catastrophic if she was pushed too far. The two Yetis each raise a brow as they mention the Ancient One. "You seek the Ancient One?" Yeti 2 asked and got a nod from the blonde. "You're an odd one, little man, and the same for the little woman, but from our point of view you're both not even close to be considered a man or woman. You're children, itty-bitty little children," he mocked. Natsumi snarled as they laughed, and her nails lengthened, taking the form of claws, and her form trembled at the insult. "Oh boy, they're pushing it," Naruto thought as he felt her murderous intent grow. "Go home, little children, and play with your toys until you're all grown up," Yeti 1 taunted, and their laughter grew. Natsumi bared her teeth, which lengthened a little as did her claws. A red aura formed around her body, and the snow around her melted. Is the little girl gonna? Do you want your mommy, baby? That's it," she roared. Her demonic Yuki erupted around her form, causing the Yetis to stop their laughing and gaze into her crimson-slit eyes. "I didn't travel hundreds of miles through a frozen wasteland to get insulted by 2 overgrown flea-ridden snow monkeys." Natsumi took several slow steps forward, snarling in an animalistic fashion towards the Yeti brothers, who unconsciously took a few steps back. "Do you times know just who the hell you're talking to? I am Natsumi Yoko, the nine-tailed fox." Naruto inwardly sighs and tries to kill the issue through talking. Natsumi-chan tries to remember your happy place. He cringed when she shot him a glare that would cause Orochimaru to have a heart attack and die seconds later. "Fuck my happy place. I'm gonna rip them apart and hang their hides on my wall," she yelled before turning around and gets ready to pounce, only for Naruto to appear behind her and wrap his arms around her while she struggles to get out of his grip and go after the now scared Yetis, screaming out obscene words that would make a sailor blush. Using his strength to keep her in place, he sees the Yeti backed up against the rocky snow-covered wall and smiles sheepishly. Excuse us for a moment, this won't take long," Naruto said as he pulled Natsumi's struggling form backwards, behind a rock texture. "Let me go to Naruto. Let me go, or no sex for a week," she protested as she struggled out of his grip. The next thing she knew, she was pinned against the wall and didn't get a chance to protest due to Naruto slamming his lips into hers. She paused as he deepened the kiss, causing her form to relax, and then wrapped her arms around his neck, and she returned the affection. They stopped their lip-locking session, and Natsumi let out an annoyed sigh. "I hate it when you do that to calm me down," she complained but smiled. Naruto sets her back on her feet with a foxy grin on his face. "Well, it was either that or Plan B. And what, pray tell, was Plan B?" she asked curiously and noticed a blush form on his face. "Let my instincts take over, drag you off, and ravage you in the snow," he answered, getting a full-body blush from his girlfriend. "Seriously, Natsumi-chan, you are hot when you're all angry and out to rip someone apart. Just seeing the anger and bloodlust radiate off of you was enough to drive me over the edge. So are you calm?" Natsumi nods as he releases her and jumps when he squeezes her cheeks. "Good behavior now, or no more full-body massages for a month." She let out a low growl but then compiled and got a kiss on the cheek. They made their way back to the 2 frightened Yeti who were keeping their distance from the vixen. "I apologize for my girlfriend here. She doesn't take kindly to others looking down on her. And no forgive us for our rudeness, we were only trying to test you to see if you were worthy of passage, and seeing as you didn't react to our taunts and insults you may pass," Yeti 1 said while his brother nodded in agreement. "You carry yourself as a true warrior, and not just physically but mentally and spiritually. Your masters have trained you well." Naruto smiled at the compliment the Yeti gave him and nodded. "Thanks, so can you tell me how far we have to go to meet the Ancient One?" Naruto asked. "Of course." The second Yeti turns his gaze at the path and points to it. "Take this path and it'll lead you to a valley that will appear at the end of the snowy mountain. Continue through the path in the valley and it'll lead you to the temple of the Ancient One." Naruto takes the info in and gives them a grateful smile. "Thanks for the instructions, Yeti-san. Let's go, Natsumi-chan," said Vixen, followed Naruto but stopped in her tracks right in between the 2 Yet and snarls at them, making the 2 cringe and back away a few feet, resulting in the Vixen getting a satisfied smirk and joins up with Naruto. After traveling through the snow for what felt like forever, Naruto and Natsumi finally made it to the end of the frozen terrain and gazed upon the beautiful valley in amazement. "Now this is a view," Naruto commented with Natsumi nodding in agreement. They continued on their path through the valley and then into a desert terrain with little plants and few animals. During the trip they pass a short Japanese fat man who appears to be meditating on top of a pile of smooth rocks, saying nothing until he passes gas. Both Naruto and Natsumi's eyes widened as the smell hit their nose. "Ugh!" Naruto gripped his nose hard but Natsumi got the worst. She almost falls over and gasps out, clutching her throat in a comic fashion, and coughs out. "Oh Cammy, the smell! It went through my nose and down my throat. Cough, I can breathe," she cried out while her boyfriend glared at the grinning fat man. He nice one eh?" he asked the two travelers. "Dude, a warning would have been nice." Naruto managed to shake the nauseating smell out. "But since you are here, do you know if my companion and I are close to the location of the Ancient One?" he asked. The far man's eyes flashed in surprise for a few seconds but kept up his aloof appearance. "The Ancient One eh?" He strokes his shaggy beard for a couple of seconds and nods. "Yeah, I know the way to that windbag, farts. But it's gonna cost you. Got any yen or food?" "Don't matter how much you got, fox boy." Naruto ignores the name and shuffles through his pockets. "Sorry, I didn't bring any money with me," he apologized. The big man shrugs and hops to his feet. "Got any food? Pork rinds? Beef jerky? Sushi?" "I'm not picky," he asked the blonde hybrid. "Well, I've got some boiled eggs, trail mix, fruit, some rabbits that could be cooked, and some leftover rice balls," he answered as he pulled the bag out, only for a red blur to snatch them up. Naruto looked at Natsumi, who was hugging the rice balls to her body in a possessive manner. "My rice balls," she growled out threateningly, getting a sweat drop from her boyfriend. "Oh well, I have boiled eggs, fruit, and some fresh rabbits." The chubby man rubs his chin in thought, and then grins. "Give me eggs," he requested. Naruto shuffles into his pack and pulls out a plastic box with 3 boiled eggs in it, and tosses it to him. The big man catches it with a grin on his face and pulls off the top. Natsumi watches in disgust as the traveler scarfed down the eggs and licked his chubby fingers after finishing his snack and smacking his lips in delight. Naruto, on the other hand, raised his brow, wondering if this man really did know how to find the apprentice of the tribunal. "Are you sure you know the way to the Ancient One?" His answer resulted in the chubby old man turning around and breaking wind again, making Naruto's left eye twitch and Natsumi to cover her mouth and nose to prevent the smell from hitting her again. "All roads lead to the Ancient One, fox boy." As he trekked down the road, he made a sharp turn that took them off the path. But some roads are shorter than others. Natsumi, on the other hand, didn't look too convinced as they followed the man off the road. "Is it not wise to stay on the path that would lead us to our destination, old man?" she questioned. "I said some roads are shorter than others, which means there's a shortcut, stupid," he called back in an annoyed tone. A vein throbs on the vixen's temple, not liking how she was just insulted by the round man while hearing Naruto snicker. "Go to your happy place, Ami-chan," Naruto reminded his girlfriend, who looked like she was ready to rip the man apart. She took in a deep breath and exhaled in order to calm her nerves and huffs up before joining up with him and the old man. A few hours later, nightfall brewed and the trio were sitting around a campfire with the rabbits Naruto had stored up cooking over the campfire. Natsumi was resting her head on his lap while he gently brushed her hair, while the old man farted once again, causing Natsumi to growl in frustration and send the man a heated glare. "Disgusting monkey," she muttered as her nose scrunched up from the smell. "What?" "It's just air." He started and was breaking wind once again. The 9-tailed vixen looked ready to rip the pudgy man in half with her bare hands before a bestial roar echoed around the area. "What in the name of Kami was that?" Naruto questioned as he looked around the area for any form of threat. The old man, however, didn't look worried as he dug his pinky through his ear and pulled it out before flicking the wax off. "Just the demon ghosts going down the trail," he answered calmly. Naruto, on the other hand, slowly reached for the hilt of his blade as the growls grew closer. "Relax, Naruto-kun, they won't bother us so long as we don't bother them. Plus, from the energy levels, they are nothing more than E-rank demons that have been killed by some stronger ones and no longer have their physical bodies," she informed her lover. "Fox girl is right," the vixen growled at the name before he continued. "They won't bother us as long as we don't bother them. Just let them pass by," he ensured the blonde hybrid. Naruto stared at him and back at the path and nodded while grabbing one of the cooked rabbits. As he bit into the cooked meat, 3 demon ghosts were floating in the air and making their way across the trail while Naruto ate his meal. Natsumi grabbed a piece of the rabbit and ate some of his as the demons passed by. PP. The couple's eyes widened and turned their heads to see the demons stop and snarl at them, resulting in Naruto and Natsumi to glare at the old man, who simply smiled at their angry expressions. "It's just air," he said once again before the demons made their way towards them. Naruto, however, turned gaze towards the demon's approaching form and remained calm before his eyes glowed red and a golden aura formed around his person. The demons suddenly stopped in their tracks as they stared at Naruto, who remained in his spot and stared intently at the 4 ghosts. The stare-off lasted for a few seconds before the creatures back away and head off in a different direction. The aura and glow died down and Naruto turned back to eating his meal as if nothing happened, surprising the old man. "Impressive, fox boy, using your mystic energy to ward off the ghosts. Very few are capable of using the ancient arts," he replied. Thanks, my masters are training me in the ways of the mystic ninjutsu arts. What I did earlier was child's play for me, he said in an honest tone. But if I may ask, how do you know about the ancient arts of ninjutsu? The old man simply shrugged. I'm an old man. I've traveled and seen things in this world most people wouldn't, and I'm no stranger to the supernatural, he answered before yawning. Well, I'm gonna get some rest since we have a long road ahead of us. Nighty night, fox brats, he says before dropping his head and snores out loudly. Did that fatso just call me a brat? She asked her boyfriend, but purred in content as he gently stroked her ear with his index and middle finger. Ease up, the guy's just messing with you though. I wished he'd have better control over passing gas so much. Naruto replied back and got a nod of agreement. If I squashed him, he'd probably release a mass release of gas so vile I'd have to rip off my ears, nose and choke myself to death, Natsumi replied. Naruto chuckles and nods in agreement. Temple of the Ancient One. After a long walk through the trail, they finally made it to the outskirts of the temple and stopped in front of the wall of a cliff. End of the trail, fox brats. The Ancient One lives on top of this mountain deep within the temple. It is guarded and perilous against those who are unworthy. He glances at Naruto with a serious expression on his face. Do you believe yourself to be worthy of Fox Boy? Naruto glances at him and up the mountain and nods. I do, he replied. The old man looks at him and sees the determination and focus in them and looks back at the cliff, stroking his beard. Okay, but it's your funeral. Natsumi, on the other hand, didn't like how he underestimated Naruto. If you think so little of Naruto-kun, then what makes you think you're worthy enough to see the Ancient One win bag? The vixen questioned. He lifts his leg and farts, causing her to recoil and twitch her brow in annoyance. Okay, I'm gonna take front, Naruto said before approaching the wall and proceeded to climb it with Natsumi joining him. There is no way I'm climbing behind that old monkey because there's no telling what will fall out of that dirty diaper of his, she muttered in disgust. Why are we climbing anyway? We could easily run up this mountain, or even teleport over. Simple Heim. 1. We have no geological concept on the temple's design, and 2. Chikara Shisho said that mountain climbing was a good form of exercise, and 3. You've gotten lazy in your training for the last couple of months, especially with all the rabbits, rice balls, and Seikyu scarf down. The last answer nearly caused her to lose her grip and gave him a heated glare. Why, you just called me fat, she stammered out in shock. Did not. I said you've gotten lazy in your training in the past couple of months. I didn't say you were gaining weight, he corrected, but she wasn't listening. Can't believe my own boyfriend called me fat. How could you? Natsumi blubbered out in a hurt fashion. Naruto rolled his eyes at how dramatic she was acting. I didn't call you fat, he said. Yes, you did. I'm fat, 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 she cried as anime tears flowed down her face. The old man, however, was snickering at the one-sided argument and shook his head in wonder. They managed to make it up to the top of the mountain and stopped in front of the temple gates. Naruto saw how run down the place was and wondered who could live in such conditions. Wow, I thought the ruins of Yuzugakure were terrible. Appearances can be deceiving, fox girl. Deep within this temple, the Ancient One awaits the one who he'll deem worthy of learning under his wisdom. The old man's expression turned serious. Prepare yourselves. He then took off at an impressive level of speed, which surprised the two who then ran after him as he bypassed the gates and into the entrance of the temple. As they caught up, Naruto and Natsumi stopped inside of a courtyard. So where is the Ancient One, Aji-san? Naruto questioned. Oh, he is close to Naruto, but before we meet him you must overcome your most dangerous adversary, the pudgy man replied. You mean my inner darkness? I've already done that, Naruto said and got a nod from the man. True, you have faced your inner darkness and accepted it as a part of you, but that is not what I was referring to, he replied, confusing Naruto. I was referring to your past. The time where you've suffered under the prejudice and hatred of people who could never understand the burden you once carried, and also your doubts in moving forward. The blonde was shocked yet astonished at how this man could read his emotions, even though he had been taught to control them while in battle where the enemy would taunt him. He looked down at his hands and couldn't help but agree that the man was correct. Why do you continue to dwell on the past when you've been given the opportunity to start over? Natsumi saw Naruto narrow his eyes and stare at the ground. Because no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to get over how hellish my life was. His hands formed into fists while his hair shadowed his eyes. Throughout my entire life people have been saying that I wouldn't amount to anything, that I'd only be seen as a nobody, a joke, a loser, and no matter how hard I try I can't help but think that they were right and that my life was not of importance. He replied in a soft tone so cold it made Natsumi flinch. I hated them. I hate them for all the lies, deceit, and betrayal, especially to the ones who were supposed to look out for me but left me at the mercy of the wolves, and I wanted nothing more than to make them pay for my suffering, to make them feel my pain, and see what it's like to be nothing and have nothing and drown forever in their guilt. The old man was stoic as he watched Naruto's form tremble in fury. But most of all, I hated those who had what I always yearned for, and that was a family. People who I could console with and tell them everything, whether it be bad or good. To hear my father say he's proud of me and to receive hugs from my mother whenever I felt sad or hurt, and no matter how much I wished for it, I never got it. His voice choked a little and Natsumi looked away in sadness and regret, since she was one of the reasons why he didn't have Kushina or Minato in his life. I hated the whole world for taking everything from me and wanted everyone to feel my pain, but then I realized if I did that, then I'd become the one thing people always claimed me to be, and that is a monster, which is the last thing I'll ever be because I refused to take the easy way out. I fought and fought till I could fight any longer, no matter how hard it was, and continued to move on, and hopefully make sure no one else suffers like I did. A crossroad is something most people have difficulties in deciding whether to take the high road or the other, so tell me, boy, which road will you take? Will you allow yourself to be held back, or will you move forward and become the man your family would want you to be? The old man questioned. Naruto pondered on these questions and closed his eyes and thought for a while. A soft breeze blew around the area as Naruto remained silent. Would he continue on the past and what ifs, or will he step forward into the future? A second chance that was given to him, and allow him to start over? He frowned as he thought of Konoha and the villagers that treated him like crap, especially when the images of Sasuke, Kakashi, Hiruzen Sarutobi, Sakura, and his so-called godparents appeared in his mind before shattering as the images of his new senseis Chikara Shisho, Judo Shisho, Kan Shisho, Hisomi Shisho, along with his parents who were smiling, and lastly Natsumi appeared. Once their images faded, he thought of what the old man said. Natsumi was concerned due to her lover being silent for a long time and was about to step forward. I choose to move forward and forge my own future, Ancient One. He finished with a smirk forming on his lips while the Ancient smirked as well. Took you long enough, the Ancient One replied. Natsumi, on the other hand, was wide-eyed and stumped, glancing at the short man and at Naruto. All this time this windbag was the Ancient One? Natsumi questioned as the man stroked his goatee. Indeed, Natumi-san thought I would advise you to be less temperamental like the young ward here. He advised that the vixen didn't take well and a tick mark formed on her head. Temper? You haven't seen my temper yet, old man, so don't push your luck. She growled in a low, dangerous tone, only to hear the man chuckle. Natsumi-chan, calm down. He was just giving you some helpful advice, but I've noticed you've been more irritable lately, Naruto said and got a questioning look from her. By any chance are you going through that change females go through monthly? Boom! The Ancient One raised an eyebrow when he saw Naruto's form embedded into the wall with cracks spreading around. A red-faced Natsumi had her right arm raised in the air in the form of a fist due to uppercutting him at speeds the naked eye couldn't see. No, it isn't my time of month, Yubaka! She screamed as his form slid down the wall and hit the ground with a thud, sporting a lump on the side of his head and twitching a little. My mistake won't happen again, he muttered before losing consciousness. The end. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.